There's a road I travel down in the dark, in the dark. A stormy path where I lost the vision of my heart. And like a thief in the night, gone was the light that guided my soul. Feeling cold and alone, just dying to be. Oh, 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 I'm calling in, I'm calling in. All the answers inside of me. I'm calling in, I'm calling in. Ooh, life that sets me free. If you want to get up on your feet and dance with us, we'd love it. We all need a chance to prove that we were here, share our fears, shed some tears. Oh, our faithful friends who never need to ask the reasons why. A chance to dream, a space to scream, a time when we fly so high. So when will you choose that you will live until you die? I'm calling in, I'm calling in. All the answers inside of me. I'm calling in, I'm calling in. Ooh, life that sets me free. Is this a crisis of the heart, or just life imitated art? Did you think it was the end? Just as life began again. You're living on the edge, or living by default. It's your call, it's your call. So tell me what's worse to bear, the open wound or the sting of the soul. Let's go out on a limb, throw caution to the wind, gotta shed some skin. Oh, you know there's a fine line between letting go and giving in. I'm calling in, I'm calling in. All the answers inside of me. I'm calling in, I'm calling in. Ooh, life that sets me free. I'm calling in, I'm calling in. All the answers inside of me. I'm calling in, I'm calling in. Ooh, life that sets me free.
Ah, what a beautiful day it is today. I'm going to tell you a little secret about our senior minister, Kathy Ann Lewis, for those of you who are new. By the way, I'm Abigail Schairer, and I'm the associate minister here. So Kathy Ann, for the last couple of years, not years, couple of weeks, has been doing something extra secret on the minister's listserv that you all don't know about. And what she's done is she's called forth the idea of having all the ministers bless a community every day, a different community every day. So this most recent community that she's asked to call forth is CSL Tulsa and Sue Ellen Miller. So I'd love for you to hold in mind and consciousness the highest and greatest expression of love and light happening in and through that community. Thank you. And for those of you who were here last week, you might have heard Reverend Sharon Ramey, who talked about being a blessing to other communities, and especially those communities that are within our sphere, our close sphere. And I was very inspired by both Kathy Ann and Sharon, and I sent a note out to the local ministers, Unity and Centers for Spiritual Living, and I said, hey, I'd love to adopt you and have our community pray for you too. So every week I'm going to send out a prayer to the practitioners to hold in consciousness a different nearby community. And this week is going to be Reverend Gail Dillon from Genesis, Center for Spiritual Living. And we are holding for them the love of this community and the love of their prosperous financial health and well-being, and their leadership thriving in any way, every shape and every form. So if you can hold that with me, I would love and appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. And that's what I love about this center and this community, is that we are a space of giving, of loving, of appreciating, of generosity. And while we may be giving prayers, there are people within this community who might be suffering in the world of abundance, in the world of prosperity. So Kathy Ann and I have designed a 5-week series of talks about proving abundance. And this is week 1. Living the abundant life A to Z is our theme. Part 1, today. To be continued with Kathy Ann. So one thing that she had me read was a little book by Robert Russell, who said, and his book is called Putting the Prosperity Idea to Work. It's out of print. Can't find it anywhere. She's the only person who has it that I know of. But I will tell you some great quotes from the book. The most direct approach to prosperity is through the absolute. A, absolute. If it is true of God, or whatever you call God, so you might say the universe, or source, or life, or love. If it is true of the universe, if it is true of the infinite great creator of all, then it's true of me. He says, God is all in all. It is both desire and fulfillment, prayer and its answer, idea and its manifestation. And I love the idea of abundance. But really, when I think about abundance, like, what is abundance? Like, what is the most abundant expression ever? When I really get to, like, what can be bigger than the biggest thing that I could ever possibly conceive of? Oh, the universe, or God, right? And I think about what Robert Russell said. Prayer is like a seed, for contained within the prayer is the answer already, just like the entire oak tree is contained within the acorn. So if you have an idea, the entire manifestation of that idea is contained in the universe just in having the idea within itself. What I love is that I've been studying this a series of books for you because I'm really loving this idea of prosperity. So Deborah was not lying. So here's my books. I left 3 of them at home. So you'll hear a little bit of everything today because I really wanted to give you all the goodies. And David Spangler said in The Law of Manifestation, "We are not training you in manifestation. We're training you to recognize manifestation." There's quite a difference. We're not training you to be able to produce things. We're training you to recognize the eternal process of production that is all about you so that you can do it because you are it. The poet Tennyson says of the divine, "Closer is he than breathing, and nearer than the hands and feet." Jesus knew this. He said, "I and the Father are one." You might say, "I and the Mother are one. I and the universe are one." It shows that humanity and God and the divine are inseparable. We're all part of the one thing. We are the perfect expression of the divine. Body, mind, and spirit. Not body, but body and mind and spirit. So Robert Russell, in his book, Putting the Prosperity Idea to Work, he says this important point. This is not a system or process, but a way of thinking. The way of thinking is absolute oneness with God. Working in the absolute is an awakening rather than a process. An awakening. So, I have a little thing for you. At first service, I was like, who has a $100 bill? And somebody loaned it to me. Because I forgot my $100 bill at home, so. $100 and a rose from my garden. Which is more spiritual, the rose or the $100 bill? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? Right? But for some reason, they might have different experiences in your body when I hold one up versus the other up. And that has less to do with this and more to do with what's in here. Vivian May Williams, she said, "We cannot possess money until we perceive that the substance of our own form or identity is the same substance as wealth or abundance, which money is the identity. If you believe that you are spiritual and money is material, you separate yourself by accepting such a belief. But when you realize that money is a spiritual idea that stands in the same relationship to mind, to God, to the universe, as a rose does, it will be visibly expressed without anxious thought." The outward appearance at this time may be that you don't have a lot of money. But in truth, you are made up of God's stuff, of the infinite storehouse, the source of all, the infinite abundance of the universe. Wealthy, rich. So when are you going to awaken to it? The second point that Robert Russell says is that the only time we suffer is from a lack of our own awareness. And then the only thing that limits us is the thought of limitation. My wife is reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is by Robert Kiyosaki. And she was showing me a little YouTube video yesterday that he said, and I thought it was really appropriate for this talk. He said, "Poor people say, 'I can't afford it. I can't do that.' It's a fear mentality. Words become flesh. You become what you say. So what words are you saying? What are you telling the universe is possible for the universe to produce through you? And then he says, rich people say, how can I afford it? How can I do that? Why should I do that? And what he says is that a statement closes the mind. A question opens the mind. It makes us available to the possibility. And I'll take it a step further. Rich spiritual people might say, how can I welcome it? Can I be the place where God does that as me? So whatever you think is not possible is your own limitation of your own good. It is not God limiting you, it's you limiting God. How big is your God? And it's okay, it's all right to see your own limitations. Because once you see your own limitations, then you can transcend them. Once you realize, oh, that's where that is. That's my own limitation. I can let that go now. Maybe one of your limited beliefs is that it's good to be poor or only bad people are wealthy. And then every time you see a rich person, you start cursing them and you're upset at them. Oh, those rich people. It's pious to be poor. Money doesn't grow on trees. But getting rich is one of the best ways you can help the poor. You can't get poor enough to help the poor. You can't get sick enough to help the sick. Instead of focusing on your sickness, start focusing on your health. Instead of focusing on your poverty, start focusing on your wealth. Another book that I was reading, Financial Success by Wallace Wattles. He says, if you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Prove it by becoming rich yourself and then showing them how. He also said that people must be taught to become rich by allowing creation, not competition. Every person who becomes rich by competition, throws down behind them the ladder by which they rise and keeps others down. But every person who gets rich through creation opens a way for thousands to follow them and inspires them to do so. So I'm going to get all biblical on you. I know Reverend Sharon did this last week. I have a quiz. Okay. Matthew chapter 22, verses 2 through 14. Anybody? Where's your Bibles? The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son and sent his servants to call all of those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they would not come. Again, he sent other servants saying, tell all those who are invited, everyone, see, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen, my fat calves have been slaughtered and everything is ready. Come to the wedding feast. But they did not come. They went off, one to their farm, another to their business. And I think about this story as the infinite great creator gives a banquet to all of us. And yet, here I am. I don't deserve it. I'm not ready. I can't accept this. I'm not good enough. And we push it away and we leave. And yet it's there for us to experience and express. But it's us turning it away. So, how do I transcend my own limiting beliefs? Hopefully that was your next question. So there's two techniques. There's the basic level and then there's the advanced level. We're going to go to the basic level. This is where you manifest the 3 Ps, princesses or princes, palaces, and parking spaces. It's also the level where I think about like a video game. Like when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, I had a Nintendo, I liked playing Super Mario Brothers, and when I first started the game, I would play little Mario, and he would jump, and there would be some coins, and so he'd jump, and he'd get the coins, and then all of a sudden, he'd be running and running and running, and then whack, he hit a turtle. And he had to start all over again. So then I'm playing, oh, jump here, get the coins, go, oh, there's a turtle, jump over the turtle, okay, more coins, getting the coins, and whack, hit another turtle, starting all over again. After a while, I would get farther and farther along. I'd start understanding how to get the abundance, how to avoid the pitfalls. I'd see what I was doing. I wouldn't do the same thing over and over again. I'd learn. I'd get better at it. I would master it. I would get all the coins and make it to the next level. Another example of this, and this is all Bev's fault. So Bev invited me to take this body pump class at the gym. We both live close to the same gym. So I'm like, sure, I'll take the body pump class. And I think, I'm looking pretty good, So I walk into the class, and there's like, it's filled with people who are in their 60s and 70s, young people who are in that age group, and they're grabbing 10-pound, 15-pound weights, right? And so I go to the 10-pound weights, and I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm new here, I'm new. And the teacher looks at me, and she was like, yeah. She gives me some 3-pound weights. And one of the women turns to me and said, you'll really appreciate her for that, trust me. Otherwise, you will not come back. And she was right. Doing 900 reps of triceps, and oh my God, whew. But the thing is I'd never done it before, and I had to start where I was ready. I really wasn't ready for the 15-pound weights, although I thought I was, but I wasn't. And I was grateful to start where I was ready. It was important for me. And so sometimes, especially in the beginning, learning about these tools, learning how to collaborate and create with the divine, it's important that we exercise our faith muscle in God. Like I might start small and incrementally work my way up. A lot of people think, oh, wow, if God is the absolute, well, God doesn't know the difference between, $1, $100, or $1 million, and that's true. Having that abundance in our life doesn't matter to God. So instantly, it's like, I want $1 million. Well, when I first started this teaching, I had to find out where the edges of my belief were. And at the time, I was making $25,000. So what I could believe that God could create and I could allow and open to in my life was doubling my income. That was a lot of money. And then when it happened, I was able to open up to that next level. And I continue to do so. It's an ever-expanding experience of faith for me. But I had to start where I knew where my edges were. What is the most amazing thing that I could actually believe is possible? And be open to that. David Spangler said that exercising your faith muscle is like having someone walking a tightrope across a gorge, and there have to be people who go across the gorge to prove to others that it can be done. The rope can be trusted. And you might find yourself in this place right now. Can I trust the rope? God seems like a tightrope across a gorge to many, when actually it's a wide highway along which you can travel at any speed you wish. Do not allow God to be your tightrope. let it be a motorway, is what he says. So when you're in this level, you realize that you're a microcosm of creation. You are a creator. And this is what you do. And I can tell you this is the very, very tiny version of Beyond Limits. For all those people who are going beyond their limitations in my Beyond Limits class, this is the seed. First, imagine what you want. Write an affirmation as if you have it now in present tense. Second, visualize a picture in your mind. Feel the emotions of what it feels like to actually have it. You realize that your thought and your emotion combine is what causes creation to create and manifest. And you feel the gratitude of what it's like to actually have it. And the third thing is that you live in the expectation and knowing that just by having that, the idea is already made manifest. And you know, with joyful expectation, that time and space will meet in order for you to feel and know it in this physical reality. But you don't give a timeline. You just know it's already done. And then you do that process over and over and over again. Just like I go to the gym over and over and over again and get better and better. Or my yoga class, I started going a year ago, and I couldn't touch my toes. Now, touching my toes is possible, but I had to relax into it. I had to do it and let go and relax into it and allow it. And now I can touch my toes. But the pose was within me already. I just had to relax into it and accept it. So that's the basic level, the beginning level. Now, many of you, maybe this is your first time, maybe you're just starting out, maybe you've done it a little, maybe you've done it for years. But maybe you've already experienced your prince or princess, your palace, and your parking places, and you're ready to go to the advanced level. So the advanced level, which, by the way, anybody can get to if you're ready and willing for it. But sometimes you have to take the incremental steps, and sometimes you could just surrender and open to it. And it's different for everybody. So allow yourself to be where you're at. But I'm going to give you an example of what the advanced level is like. So what I'd like you to do is close your eyes. Imagine yourself inside a cold, dark house, dressed in a swimsuit. You are freezing. You wish for warmth. You wish for light. And so you choose to do something different. And you open the outside door of the house into the direct sunlight and out into nature. You go out to your lounge chair and you lay down and you sunbathe. And you feel the light and the warmth, and it penetrates your being. You feel so good. You are no longer cold. You are appreciating the beautiful sun. And then you notice next to you is a tree. And you see how it also takes in the rays of the sun. It's turning the sunlight into food and energy. It's just like you, a sunbather, absorbing the light and the warmth. And now you look up at the sun and you feel your being begin to rise out of your scene expanding towards the sun. And you meld into the sun. You become the sun. You're radiating your light out upon the trees and the plants, upon the planet, on all of nature, on all the people sitting out and sunbathing, upon all the solar panels that people are converting into energy. You are giving out from your inexhaustible supply, shining your light. Now feel the difference of being the sun and being the sunbather. Feel the connection between the two. And now bring back your attention to this place and time and open your eyes. So the basic level is like wanting the warmth, taking the action to step into the light and fully accepting the rays of the sun. The advanced level is where we think of ourselves as the sun. We view the manifestation not as a process of getting things, but as an opportunity to shine our truth and give our light away from an inexhaustible source that helps the entire world. That's what it's like to live in the absolute. So remember that working in the absolute is awakening. What are you awakening to? And remember that the only thing we suffer from is lack of awareness. And the only thing that limits us is our own thought of limitation. So notice, what words are you saying? Ask yourself, how can I welcome this? Can I be the place where God does this as me? And go on this week and join me in shining your light. Will you commit to doing that? Yes. And so it is.